Hi, welcome. My name is Matt Arleth, and I'm going to be your child's eighth grade U.S. history teacher this year. I want to give you a little bit of background information on the course, how things are going to run, and some of our goals that we have this year in terms of getting students to meet the bar in this very historic, different public school year of 2020. So, first, I want to tell you that school in my class, basic assignments, submissions, information, the daily routine will be run through Schoology. Schoology. So this is where you log in every single day. You take attendance, you get your assignments, you submit your assignments, the daily instructions, so on and so forth. Grades will be kept in Campus. So the official grade book is Campus. Now, many of you know this from previous years. Schoology does keep a grade book, and there will be scores in Schoology for my class. But if you want to check your students' official grade at the moment, Campus is where that will be housed. So hopefully that makes sense and is somewhat consistent across the board. This year, eighth grade U.S. history. So it's basically the 19th century, the 1800s. But we're going to do a pretty heavy, the first unit will be pretty heavy in the Revolution. Okay, we even will go back a little bit before the Revolution and set up some of that context, an important word this year, and you'll hear more about that in a bit. But we're going to build that context for the founding of our nation and our government. And then 19th century. So we're going to go Western expansion. We're going to look at root causes of the Civil War. We'll explore the Civil War. We'll look at Reconstruction after. And then, of course, we're going to finish the year with industrialization, and immigration, a short immigration unit. So those are our topics. That's sort of what we're going to explore. A lot of the kids ask about World War I and World War II. Nope, that's not going to happen until high school. But we'll try to set that up for them. And it's a great year. I mean, we have all this flag controversy. We have monument controversy. Our goal as a history team in the eighth grade is to help kids unpack that, help kids make some of their own decisions about this, rather than try to indoctrinate students into our opinions. Of course, we have them, but one of our goals, I think, between Mr. Fletcher and I is that we play devil's advocate a lot, and we really try to be as objective as we possibly can. Something that both of us say not a lot of our social studies teachers were as we went through this process ourselves. So it's a brave new world. There's a lot of opportunities we have right now, and our mission would be, in some ways, turning over the keys to this next generation, so that they understand the roots of why adults are fighting right now. Okay. So that's our content year, okay, the content of the year, the 19th century, 1800s. But this is the piece I'll leave you with. For me personally, and definitely for Mr. Fletcher too, one of our missions here is to not necessarily emphasize names, dates, and facts as the core learning. Our emphasis is on critical thinking and giving students tools to be able to think critically in an adult world. And here's what that looks like for me personally. It comes down to four basic skills that I'm going to teach explicitly to the students, and we're going to practice all year on every topic that we engage in. And I say these are the four historical thinking skills that are really life skills, that are really critical thinking skills, particularly if you want to engage in a political climate like we have right now. So here's what they are. Number one, sourcing. Sourcing information is critical, and figuring out who wrote it is not sourcing. That it's part, but it's not the whole trick. There's a lot that goes into it. Who wrote it? When did they write it? Why did they write it? For whom did they write it? Before reading something, simply asking those questions about your source can really help you infer what you're about to read. If I asked you, look, here's a 2,000-page book. It's called Mein Kampf, and it was written by this guy named Hitler. My assumption is none of you would read the book, or very few of you would read the book, because you have that context. Oh, Mein Kampf, Hitler. I know what this book is going to be about, right? You don't even have to get into the 2,000 pages to sort of understand the story. So in a very basic way, sourcing is asking those key questions. But sourcing isn't enough. The next skill is context, as I mentioned before. Context is the setting. Context is what's going on around. Now, I've tried to create a 8th grade U.S. history teacher context in my background. Okay, if I had a bunch of equations on the wall, or I was bouncing basketballs, or so, it wouldn't make as much sense, would it? But no, I've got the pictures, the flag, maps, that kind of thing. It creates a context or a setting. Well, all information is created in a context or a setting, and in history, we have to read documents that were written in 1820. What was going on in 1820 that would cause someone to write this argument about why the United States should be two different countries? So building context is a critical skill, not just here in 8th grade. This is a life skill, and I hope you're kind of following my thread here and agree. The third piece, and it goes right along with sourcing and contextualization, it's a big word. It's called corroboration. Corroboration essentially means using multiple sources. You can't just take one person's word or opinion. You can't just have one data point that says this is or this isn't. Well, you need multiple, okay? And so corroborating says I'm going to look at multiple pieces of information about the same topic and see if there's a thread. See if there's something that will help me determine that this data is more reliable or is less reliable. Last would be close reading. And close reading is essentially details, okay? Focusing on details, little subtle details. This is something that students at this age tend to not do very well. So we're going to try and emphasize that as one of those 4 historical thinking skills, critical thinking skills, life skills. It's the most important thing we can impart on your students, on your children this year is how to do these things, how to source, how to corroborate, how to contextualize, and how to closely read information. This is how you choose a major. This is how you choose a life partner. This is how you choose a job. These are things that help you make decisions far outside the bubble of history. So I hope you're excited about this. I know we are, and I sure am, and another group of fresh minds to try and impart some of this wisdom on is pretty exciting, even in the context of 2020. So thank you all. I appreciate you watching this and listening to this. I look forward to a good year. If there's anything you need, questions, comments, concerns, email, phone call, there's lots of ways for us to get in touch in this world. So take advantage of it. Thank you all. Bye-bye.